The news is out. Ripple is going to become a bank. Brad Garlinghouse just sent a tweet about our long history of compliance. Ripple is trying to become a national bank. How does Ripple turn into a bank? This video has everything I need. I will also show you how becoming a bank for Ripple will help XRP, Lust, and Ripple. First, let's get a better sense of what Brad Garlinghouse is saying. After that, I'll tell you everything you need to know. Ripple is asking for a national bank charter from the OCC because it has a history of following the rules. If it is passed, both state through the NYDFS and federal oversight would be in place. This would set a new standard for trust in the stablecoin market. We also applied for a Fed Master account through standard custody earlier this week. This is happening at a time when Congress is working to make rules and laws clear, and banks are stepping up with this access. We could keep our LUSD in funds directly at the Fed. This would add another layer of security to make sure we can trust our LUSD in the future. The goal of Ripple has always been to build trusting, battle-tested, and safe infrastructure in a market worth more than $250 billion. This goal will never change. Our LUSD stands out because it puts rules first, which is what other institutions expect. This is exactly what you guys have been hearing this on this channel for a year now. I mean, how many videos have I made saying that Ripple is going to become a bank? Man, here it is. We've always been right. Let's talk about what Ripple needs to do to turn itself into a bank. When will Ripple open for business? It's been said over and over that Ripple wants to be a lender of last choice. That would mean they are a bank or other type of financial institution that can lend money or help other financial institutions, states, or banks. If you need to, it got my attention that Ripple would need to do a few things to become a bank. Today, Circle and some of its rivals have already done that. In addition, we will look at the pros and how becoming a bank would be good for Ripple. This is Crypto Sensei. Thanks for being here. Let's look into this more and see what's going on. So, Ripple, if you want to become a bank in the US right now, you would have to go through a strict, multi-step process that is controlled by the Federal Reserve and state laws. At this point, there is no public confirmation that Ripple is actively seeking a banking license. However, recent events and comments from people in the industry have led to a lot of speculation. Based on how things are regulated now, here's what Ripple and you need to know, right? First, you have to decide what kind of bank you want to be. What kind of bank charter the Office of Controller of Currency OCC would have to tell Ripple if it wants to be a full-purpose government national bank. Early this year, we saw that the OCC did make it clear for banks to use Bitcoin. In addition, they might be a state charter or even a new digital-first charter if that choice comes up. There might be a new license that infrastructure companies could apply for to become because of the big push going on in the US right now. Always keep in mind that Ripple has licenses all over the world. There's already a lot of the United States that they cover, and they're always looking for new licenses. A digital-only charter being talked about by people like Graykid, an early investor in Ripple, could let companies like Ripple act like banks, focusing on deposits and payments without needing real branches or lending services. But this charter is still being worked on and is not yet open to the public. That person would have to make a detailed business plan for the bank. How are you going to do that? In what ways are you going to help people? Ripple would have to make a detailed business plan that includes its purpose, goals, products, services, target market, and financial projections for the bank. The plan must show a realistic way to make money and follow the rules set by regulators. Keep in mind that Ripple does everything with full compliance first. This includes AML, KYC, and everything else under the sun. This is because Ripple doesn't work directly with people like you and me. There are banks, credit unions, financial market infrastructures, and state banks among them. All of the ones I just listed need the strictest standards and compliance. And Ripple does meet those requirements. Put together a good management team. I think Ripple has already made a business plan, because I don't think anyone at Ripple is just sitting around waiting for someone to say go. I believe this is being worked on behind the scenes. No matter what the market does, Ripple will always have a plan. Their team is pretty much ready to go at any time. And seeing such smart people work together to build this system that most people won't even be aware they're using is really, really cool. But we know that in the end, people will use XRP and our LUSD to send money around the world instantly. Regulatory authorities want banks to have top management with a lot of experience, such as compliance officers and risk management experts. Ripple would have to hire someone with that kind of knowledge or show that it already has it in-house. We've already looked at the Ripple team and how skilled the people on it are. All of this is already in-house for the board of directors, as well as for people on our LUSD and that board. In case they needed to, they could call people and get them to join this bank. I think Ripple will continue to grow and become one of the largest blockchain technology companies in the world. Meet the cash needs. Ripple would need to meet the minimum capital standards for Switch. These are a Tier capital ratio of 4.5%, a Tier 1 capital ratio of 6%, a total capital ratio of 8%, and a leverage ratio of 4% for a U.S. national bank. Depending on the type of business, there may be other numbers that need to be used. Don't forget that Ripple has a lot more cash than Circle did. Before Circle went public, we looked at its numbers. That might be a little different now that their stock is worth a lot more, but Ripple does have the money to do all of this if they wished. They also know people in the business who can help make this happen. Sign up and ask for a charter. For banking reasons, Ripple would have to open a bank account and apply in detail to the appropriate regulatory body, which in this case would be the OCC for the federal charter and state banking authorities for the state charter. This application needs to have a lot of information in it, like a business plan, a governance structure, risk management policies, anti-money laundering processes, and a lot more. They also need to get protection for the deposit to protect customer. Accounts up to a certain amount, banks need to get permission from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. This time, it's about $250,000. Regulatory review and acceptance of the application go through a thorough process that includes checking the backgrounds of key employees, making sure the company is financially stable, managing risks, and making sure the infrastructure and operations are ready. It might take a year or more to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, if Ripple is going in this way, they're probably already working on it. Before final approval, regulators may want to look at more